we in, baby. And today we have the beautiful Hannah Levitt Collins in the building. How are you?
Already. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's so nice to see you. I've not actually seen you in like human form in ages.
I know, it's deceiving, right?
Yeah, no, not at all. The last time we spoke, we did a Zoomy kind of lockdown shitty chatter for your So What Now artist.
Yeah.
And we've podcasted before that in a Starbucks.
Yeah, and that feels like a lifetime ago.
It was.
Did you do one in Starbucks, did you?
Yeah, we did one in Starbucks.
Did I change your life? I remember you'd never had a coconut milk, like flat white or whatever. Did you carry on having them?
No.
Oh, for God's sake!
It was nice, but I've never carried on having them. But it's good. I liked it. It is good.
But that's so long ago.
It's probably like 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
I think four.
That was when we used to before we had a Jake, we used to drive and just set up in like random locations.
You
like
don't know
Costa
how good you got it now.
No.
Very good.
Spoiled.
I'm spoiled. You're not.
We're both spoiled.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming in. And it's a pleasure to have you back. How's life? What's been going on?
Life's good. Life's great. Obviously been a bit crazy after, I think everyone feels that way, like coming out of COVID and trying to figure out another new chapter again. COVID was wild, great in ways, challenging in ways. And then, yeah, life's been good. I can't complain.
Did it change anything for you? Like your perspective on yourself or on the industry and work-wise? Like coming out of COVID, what do you feel like you've done differently since before COVID?
I think COVID changed me hugely. For me, it was like a massive, how do I say, not a smack in the face, but it was like a huge realization of what do I want? What does Hannah want from life? What are my priorities? Am I finding balance here? Or am I just kind of on a hamster wheel and I'm doing what I think everyone else wants me to do? That
resonated, didn't it?
Yeah, that was huge for me. And also being forced to stop. It was the first time in how old was I? I'm trying to think now. How old were we at the beginning of COVID? It's the first time in 10 years I was forced to stop and actually have a conversation with myself of what the hell, what do I want in life? And I think it was just hugely needed. I know at first everyone was, of course, shitting it, thinking what's going to happen? How am I going to make money? Like questioning ourselves, etc. And obviously our industry was just in tatters, which at the beginning I felt, but I very quickly adapted, which was the beginning of So What Now artist, the membership and the self package eventually. And that was just incredible. So I think honestly, if COVID hadn't have happened, those things never would have happened.
I think me and you, and we've said this before to each other, we're quite similar in the sense that we didn't let it, like, you know, our industry kind of went to shit. Yeah. But we actually both went and created our own lanes to make an income and used our strengths and created new products, which actually didn't really exist.
Yeah, like, which is crazy now when you think about it.
Like I know people go, oh, we did that, but maybe not to the level that we're doing and the depth that we do it, where it's now a full-time thing for us both, like with the ins and outs, like the training program, like you know, I started doing online training. I was one of the first people to start doing like online training with just dance classes, and then everyone started doing it, which I don't blame them because that's what we did. But I did it on the very first week of lockdown. I was like, we're in online training, let's go.
Wow.
Like on the second lockdown, not the first one. And obviously you started So What Now, and I feel like it's a huge show of character that like we're both kind of like go-getters as opposed to just like sit and wait for things to happen. You know what I mean? And I feel like it probably is, but you can, you know, speak on it. Do you feel like that character is why you've had such a successful career? Like even before like doing So What Now artist, like you make opportunities happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from the beginning, I just think that drive has always been there. It's never been an option for me that it's not going to happen. Like it will happen, but I have to be persistent. I have to be consistent. I have to fight for it. And I think having that, again, when you get put in a position where it's like everything's failing around you and the world's crumbling, it's like it's not an option to sink. I have to swim some freaking how. I don't know. In the moment, it might feel like I don't know how, but I'm going to figure out how. And it's just like in work, like you get a million no's. How do you come back from that? How do you bounce back? How do you continue, or how do you evolve? That's the most important thing for me, is like, how do I continue to grow? How do I continue to make it work for me? So with work, with a career, well, as you both know, having a successful career isn't easy.
No.
And if you're gonna
not self-employed.
Anyone's
we ring each other every week and go, why do we do this again?
Why are we self-employed?
Why are we self-employed?
Self-employment is hard. It should come with a freaking manual. It should come with some kind of guidance.
It comes with the Ins and Outs podcast.
Or mentorships. But it is really difficult. And how do you navigate through? How do you have a long career, not just a quick stint of like a couple of cute jobs a year? Like, how do you actually keep consistency up? So to answer your question, I would say, that drive is pretty strong. But I would say also it's having belief in yourself. Like, you have to have self-belief. If you have no self-belief, you're just going to sink anyway. Yeah,
like that's kind of like my biggest preacher, especially the last like few years, like working with a lot of up and coming dancers and college students who are trying to break into the industry. Like, my first thing is like, right, if they don't believe in themselves, I need them to understand firstly how important that is and help them believe in themselves. And actually what I've realized is you get the biggest breakthroughs as soon as they start going, I'm actually quite good. And as soon as that thought process enters their brain, it's like, it changes them completely.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, like, I remember being in John Graham's class at Pineapple, being like dancing with like Leanne LeMay and like all the like cool working dancers. And I was like this little gross, like 19-year-old boy who'd done a few jobs, but was well out of my depth. And her going to me, you're better than you think you are. And I remember that changing my life. Like, I remember being like, oh my God, someone thinks I'm good. And that gave me so much confidence. Yeah. And that for me was like a kind of like a catapult into like, oh, I could actually like do this. Like, I'm dope. Like, I'm going to be dope if I just keep working.
It's that key word,
so that's confidence. Like my thing now is like build everyone's confidence. Like, wherever they're at, like even if they're out of 10, if they're a 2, if we build their confidence, they could get to a 4 real quick. Or even if they're a 9, they could get to a 10. Like, because I think as soon as someone starts believing in themselves, they're going to be more open to try. They're going to be more open and willing to explore and like be willing to fail.
Yeah. Everything you just said there, I'm just like, yes. Because I'm such a firm believer in like confidence is everything. And I always say to students of mine or even people I mentor or dancers I mentor, it's being a dancer isn't just steps. Half the package is being a performer and an artist, and the other part is the steps and being a dancer. And you have to have both. Like, you can be the most incredible dancer stepwise, but if you can't perform, you can't sell it, and you don't have confidence, and you have lack in your belief of your like delivery or what you offer, it's not going to work. Like, if you're on a camera in a music video, if you don't believe what you're doing or what you're selling or the artist that you're selling or whatever the bigger picture is, there's not a place for you. There's someone else behind you who's 10 times more confident, but they might not be as great a dancer.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm such a huge believer in the confidence and self-belief has to be there. And like you say, that's the breakthrough, right? And then once you do have that breakthrough, it grows from there. For me, just like you in the beginning, I was very much like, oh my good God, I'm going to get eaten alive. In auditions, I was thinking, and I was seeing all these, Leanne, Sarah Robinson, many other dancers I could name, but they were all full of confidence and they were so fearless and they were so empowered. And I was like, I want to be able to hold myself like that and believe myself like that, which I did from then on eventually. And I honestly think that's partly why I've got some of the jobs that I've done.
Was there like a sudden switch for you, or was it like a gradual process? For that like self-belief and confidence?
Yeah, because that self-belief and confidence was not there. I have to say, like, a lot of people, again, maybe similar with you guys, like they think that you've always been that confident. Like that's just a given. Like, you just hold yourself like that. So you must have always been like that. Not at all. If anything, so much self-doubt, so much insecurity, it just felt so far away. I remember in the beginning, especially leaving college, you just feel like, is that ever going to happen for me? Especially when you're auditioning 24/7 and you're getting no. And you're seeing the working dancers who get it over and over again. You're like, I'm never going to be one of them. That's how it feels in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
For me, a massive switch point, I think it was gradual and I was working at it and I was fighting for it. The moment for me where I was like, I can do this, and actually, why haven't I seen it sooner, was when I did X Factor, Ollie Murs' performance, which was full of the most iconic female dancers that I could even, like, that stage was just full of all the working dancers. Like, it was an absolute honor and joy just to sit in the room, let alone be in the piece. And I remember being in rehearsals with Paul Roberts, and we were all learning the choreo, we were all learning like the sections. And I remember I was in one of the main sections and Paul took me out. And all of that self-doubt started going, I was in full panic. I was like, I'm going to get sacked. I'm not good enough. What's happening? I was stressing. And then after they did their section, etc., I was sat on the side in full-fledged panic in my head. I was really young still. And Paul said, oh, Hannah, come here. And I was like, oh my God, this is it. He's going to sack me. He's going to ask me to leave and get my bag. I never worked for him before. So I was like, and he's so nice. He's not like that. I'm painting, he's not like that. It was all in my head. He's actually the nicest man in the world. Oh my God, he's the nicest man in the world. So lovely. So just so sweet and gentle. And he placed me, he like kind of took me by the shoulders, like, right, you're going to start there. And I kind of looked at him as if to say, I don't understand what you mean. And he was like, so the first opening shot is going to be just your face. It's just you. And I looked at him to say,
are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you dumb?
Are you dumb? Are you sure? And why? And I think he literally saw on my face straight away the confusion and the self-doubt and the, oh, what do you mean? And he said, before I could even say anything, he said to me, why wouldn't it start on you? You're incredible. And I was like, oh, like in my head, can I just cry? I mean, if that comment, or I think he says something like, you're incredible, you're beautiful, or whatever.
All of them.
If he just said something like, you're okay, I would have been happy with that. But I literally in that moment was like, oh my God. And I remember I started the whole number. And I was just like, why I can do this. Why do I think I can't do it? And that for me was the moment where I was like, one, camera work is one of my favorite things. Live television is one of my favorite things. Artists is one of my favorite things. And I just had a massive fire light up inside me where I was like, do you know what? Anyone who's told me I can't do this, I'm about to prove you wrong. And that was the beginning of everything for me.
Did you have many people when you're trying to get into this industry or going through college, did you have a lot of people doubt you?
Yeah, big time, hugely. I was the underdog. I went to a musical theatre college where I wanted to be a commercial dancer. I just wanted to dance in pop videos. I grew up with dancing to Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson. Kylie tour was on repeat in my living room on a tape. Probably Ashley Wallen's probably in that, thinking about it now.
Yeah, 17 or something.
Yeah, literally. But I used to just copy and paste and I loved it. But I had to go to a musical theatre college because I needed that foundation. I needed that technique training. But that meant, I remember my first year, my first class, everyone was like, oh, what grades have you done? And they went around the room and I felt like such a knob. I was like, I've done nothing, no grades.
I can point my toe.
I'm just trying to figure out a plie here. I'm just trying to figure it out. So I really did start at the bottom of the pile and I had to really, I felt like I had to really prove myself the whole way through my training. And I don't know, I just felt like I'm glad in a way. I never got given much opportunity, if put it that way. I was never a favourite, etc. Which is crazy because I now go back and teach at that college. But
full circle.
Which is great. And so they're a wonderful college. And to be honest, I had some wonderful teachers and I wouldn't change it for the world because they it was cruel to be kind. They did it because they saw potential. They were like that because they wanted me to be better. They wanted me to fight for it, which is probably the same experience you guys had, right?
Mine was identical. I wasn't in my end of year show. I was the referee in the middle of a dance battle. Do you know what I mean? I was in one number and it was the commercial number because I was one of two people that could do what we called commercial.
Right.
Not technical.
Yeah, we didn't have commercial.
No, we
didn't. It wasn't a genre at college.
We didn't do it. We just did jazz, contemporary and ballet.
Yeah.
All things I am horrendous at. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I was in beginner's tap. I mean, let's put it that way. I've never done tap. Oh God. I didn't enjoy it, put it that way.
I remember being told, your body's not made to dance, but you definitely love dancing the most. And I was like, is that a compliment? Is this
very backhanded?
Yeah, it's is this a win? And it's the same thing. Now, I teach with in the same faculty as the teachers that teach me.
Yeah.
So it's kind of dope. But I do feel that underdog kind of positioning at college, if you can utilize it to your advantage, can give you so much empowerment and so much strength. If you can overcome it, I feel like a lot of people, it defeats them.
Yeah.
And then once you're defeated, it's you've got no hope. But for me, I was just always I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna prove you wrong. Doesn't matter, watch this.
Yep.
And it kind of prepared me for going into the big wide world full of no's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100% agree.
And then
Literally.
We've discussed this before, like how the person who wins early on often fail later.
Yeah.
Because they're so used to getting guesses. At the moment they get their first no, it's like a downhill
Yeah.
spiral from there.
Absolutely.
And then when I started getting so many yeses, then when I got a no, I was like, I forgot what this feels like.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Feels
you're
like dagger. You're like,
yeah. It's like I haven't had a no in 5 years. What the fuck? No.
But then you can have like, well, as you know, like you have those ripples, right? So you go through your phases where you're like, yes, 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 yes. And then when you do have that no, it feels even harder and more painful than the 1,000 no's you got in the beginning when you were 18 years old. And it hurts so much more because I feel there's so much pressure, more pressure. And that comes again from being the underdog. Like you're like, oh, because you always feel like you need to prove a point. You always feel like you need to prove why you're deserving of that job or that career. And that's something that really stuck with me. And that was something that I found really like came back to bite me in the ass when I was older. Like I was always trying to gain validation from other people because that's always what I had through my training as an underdog. I want your validation. I want you to tell me I'm good enough.
Wow.
So then it comes back.
That's made me like question myself. I'm like, do I do that? And I probably, without even knowing. Do you know what I mean?
Is that a process that you go through still now, or
It's a process that I became really conscious. Again, COVID, right? Standing still. Finally, not having a conversation, but I suppose becoming aware of like what my triggers are and what my conditioning is and what my autopilot is.
Really good word. That I like that a lot. The autopilot.
Oh, the autopilot. Jesus Christ. It's like a constant battle. I'm like, right, no, we don't want to go back to that. How do we make new
habits,
new habits.
processes.
But it's understanding what your habits are to start with. If you can't understand them, you're not even aware of them, then it's just going to be a constant hamster wheel, right? Where you just continue round.
Do you know what your triggers are?
Yeah.
I know what mine are.
Do you?
Yeah.
I love that. Okay.
Mine would be like,
I wonder if they're the same. Only because you said you're underdog.
Mine's always about image. It's never about like ability. Because like I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm bad at. So if it's like, oh, you're bad at that jazz number, I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. Like I put zero effort into it. Like I'm not expecting to be great at something. Like I know what I'm good and bad at. But my whole time coming into this being a profession, I was always told that this world isn't about what you dance like, it's about what you look like. And I was always basically told, you don't look right. So like my whole career has been trying to like look a specific way. I always wanted to be able to be the shirtless guy. I wanted to be able to be the like, because I'm white, ginger, 5'8", and I was quite chubby. Like I
can never imagine you chubby.
I didn't fit the mold of what you're meant to look like. Like everyone was like, you need to look like Glenn Ball or Anthony Kay. Well, I can't look like either of them.
Oh, BB. I mean,
do you know what I mean? But that's what as a male dancer, they were the pinnacles, or like a J Ravel. Like, I can't look like any of them. Like, there wasn't a white ginger guy to be like, that's the reference.
Yeah.
So like, I felt like I had to try and create the reference myself.
Yeah.
But try and be like, how can I stand next to them people? I can look good shirtless. So mine is like, if someone says like to me like, oh, you don't look as like good as you used to, or something like anything to do with like what it might be like, what my body looks like, or something like that. Oh my God, you'll see me like, I'll be like, I'm not eating carbs.
Going straight to the gym.
Yeah. 10-hour workout. Here we go.
It's been like my trigger since like I started working.
Yeah.
It was like I remember when I first moved to like London and we'd have barbecues at my house at Guy's Cliff Mansion, and we'd have like Cisco and everyone over, and I'd cook everyone food, but I wouldn't eat it and I'd just eat cucumber. Because I didn't want to, I'd be so afraid of like getting fat because I was like, I'm so afraid.
We've spoken about this as well because,
And I was messed up. LA, same thing. Like, lived on 0 calories. I looked the best in every room.
This is a misconception though, isn't it? Like a lot of body image is definitely on female. Yeah. It's like, oh, what the female goes to, but actually males have it in dance industry just as hard. Like you have to, you're constantly comparing yourself to everyone.
And it's still my trigger now. Jake sent me a reel that he's made from me teaching on Sunday, and it's a side shot of my arm, and all I can look at, I had to watch it 4 times, and I didn't listen to one word I said. I just kept thinking, my arms look so thin, and I put so much time into making them look big. But like for the past,
but I understand that.
But for the past 3 years, my goal was not to be muscly. So I've been trying to lose muscle so I can dance better. Because when I got big, my dancing suffered, and now I want to be a dancer, not a look good shirtless guy. I want to be a good dancer. like it was my trigger. I watched it and I was like, oh my God, look how skinny my arm looks.
Right.
Like I look like a 14-year-old boy. Like, and it's been on my mind since, and I don't even want to post it, but I will because I know it's stupid, but that's my trigger.
But isn't it crazy? Because people who would view you as ultra confident, or that, you know, you've got a great body, etc. You've got so much like to look at, let's be honest, like you look great. So
I know, that's what's mad. Like, so, I know I do, but it's still a trigger.
But people would never believe that's your thought process inside, you know? And like I said about the confidence thing, like people go, oh yeah, but you must be so confident. You must not have any shit. You must not have any baggage. You must not have any insecurities. We all do. That's just a fact as being a human, not even a dancer. Like even if you work in, I don't know, the modeling industry, or you actually no, I can't even say that. If you are on social media, you are going to have some kind of hang up, or you're going to have some kind of insecurity. Ours are just totally highlighted because obviously with what we do for a living, we're judged on what we look like. We're judged on our appearance. We're booked on something so minimal, like you're too skinny, or you're too big, or you're too curvy, or you're too tall. But everyone has different triggers. And I think that's something that's not spoken about. And I think that's something that's not addressed. And it's something that a lot of dancers go through their whole career, like me and you maybe, not talking about it, or not having an avenue to explore it and to get control of it. And then it either turns into like a big ugly demon, or they get towards some point in their career and it breaks them when they could have continued. Yeah. They could have been stronger, they could have been better, they could have done more.
Yeah. So what's your trigger?
I'm the opposite of you. My trigger is not being good enough in an ability sense, because I was told, and it has always stuck with me. And I guess there was 2 times. I've worked my ass off in terms of my training. I put everything in, and I worked my ass off I always grafted. I always hustled. I went to every freaking open audition you can imagine, from jobs I didn't want, cruise ship. I mean, a million cruise ship auditions. I didn't even want to do a cruise ship, just to get the experience. Back then we didn't have social media. I just always saw myself as a grafter. And I was told very early on, oh, well, you'll work because you're pretty. That was actually a sentence that was said to me by a teacher in my appraisal. And that stuck with me / broke me, because then from I hadn't even graduated. I was in my 3rd year.
It kind of diminishes your work ethic.
Absolutely. Everything I'd worked for, it felt like, oh, well, do you know what, you could be shit anyway. You're going to work because of what you look like. And it was crazy, because actually I grew up not being told I was pretty. I was the same as you. I was chubby. I was like really, I'm small now. I don't know how that happened.
Let's go thick club.
Yeah, really chubby. I was never seen as pretty at all. I had like big bushy eyebrows. I was just gappy teeth. I don't know. I suppose I didn't feel pretty either. Like I was always very much seen as kind of more like a tomboy, one of the boys. I always hung around with the boys. I was never seen as like the girl they wanted to go out with. Do you know what I mean? And it was only when I went to college to train that my body changed hugely. My face, like I dropped a lot of, like I dropped my puppy fat, because I basically was training every freaking day. And I went at 16, just 16. Your body changes hugely in that time. It's not like I had a womanly body by then. Do you know what I mean? So to then work your ass.
I did.
Yeah. Oh my God. I
was
did.
a curvaceous one.
But it's crazy, isn't it? So that one sentence stuck with me, and it really it kind of diminished everything, all the hard work I did. And I carried it. That's the crazy part. And that was up to me to carry it, because actually that was in my control. I carried that through. So every time I got a no, it was like, I'm not good enough. It was all to do with my ability. I never even thought about the way I looked. It wasn't even a thing. Like it wasn't even a question. Like, oh, do you know what? I might not have got that job because I was just an inch too small. Like that simple. It was all down to, I'm not good enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not this enough. And then I'd get in my own head about it. So that was a huge trigger of mine. And then there was another person down the line who was in the industry, no longer in the industry, which I think is a good thing, because I have many nice things to say. But they said to me very early on as well, oh, well, you won't do anything past podium dancing. You'll always be a podium dancer. That's it. Like You're not good. You're just not good enough, plain and simple. And he was quite like big in the industry.
Nothing wrong with being a podium dancer.
I'm here for the podium dancers.
You make your money, and normally you're really hot.
Yeah, and it makes you as well. Like it takes a lot of work. Like it's hard work.
Yo, podium dancing, I don't care. Like I challenge anyone to try it.
It improves that freestyle too.
Confidence, man. Like you want to build your confidence, stand half naked in front of a room full of people you don't know, and have them all stare at you like you're in the zoo.
And know how to
and learn how to handle yourself and hold it. Like we spoke about it before. I did it in the Abbey in a gay bar while people took money fanny in my pants. Like, I hated it at first. I was so self-confident, but by the end, I was like, I don't care. This is easy.
Yeah. So for me, those definitely were the triggers. And then it was later on, which we've spoken about before, where I became...
Fuck. Why is this happening today?
Take two.
We'll come back into it. Why is this happening?
What did it do? Just blank. I mean, you just got me hitting my head on your part on this. I was like, what? Oh.
Did you make a whoopsie?
No, I'm breaking mics.
It was recording though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's still recording.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so you were about to say?
Yeah,
we back? Sorry.
New trigger number 2. No, there's definitely multiple. But what we've spoken about before, Kane, was my next one was then when I started working. I was like, no, I am good enough. I got that confidence. I was like, no, I am good enough. I can, I work hard. I have good work ethic, blah, blah. All that confidence was there in terms of like what I could offer as a dancer. And then all of a sudden it was the awareness of, oh, I'm seeing myself on camera a lot. I'm seeing what I look like. I'm seeing who I'm dancing next to. I'm aware of what my body shape is. I'm aware of what the industry wants. So back then it was very much like, at one point it was rife. Like you had to be thin. Super thin, painfully thin.
That was kind of like, I feel like that was the look for girls. Yeah. Like, and I remember going to LA and like,
being like, whoa,
everyone was more curvaceous.
Curves, yeah.
And it was like, I need to use the right word in curves. There was more curves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And actually there was less the thin look that kind of was desired in the UK.
Yeah, my mind was like absolutely blown when I first went to LA, and I did a job there before I moved over. And I did my first audition there for a music video, and it was like, I was so blown by looking around and being like, we don't all have the same body. Because in London, everyone had the same.
Striving to look like that.
Exactly the same. Just so different and so unique. And I was like, and I felt odd. I felt like, oh my God, I look like a skinny model. Like, not in a good way. Like, I was like, I don't even look like a dancer. I look like I've walked into the wrong casting. So I was like, freaking out. And that was a trigger. I was like, ooh, like, is my body now wrong for this place? So I was at constant war with like my appearance and what my body looked like. Because I guess I was trying to fit the mold 24/7, rather than being like, what do I want my body to look like? How do I feel good? What makes me feel fab as a woman, etc. I'd always done what I needed to do to fit the industry. So that was a huge thing. And we've spoken about, obviously, triggers of eating. I was exactly the same. Became a huge thing where I was like obsessive of being healthy, obsessive of what went into my body, to the point where it was probably actually just mentally quite damaging. It probably was not a healthy relationship
with food. Do you think that we still have that in the UK? Like, for like what we expect people to look like? Like, I don't know. I feel like I teach a lot of dancers, like, but I don't pay much attention to like jobs, what are happening and who's being hired for what. Because I don't chase that like I used to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm less involved.
Yeah, it's definitely changed for sure. I mean, now I would say it depends what part of the industry we're talking about, but I would say in general, I think more versatile bodies are welcomed, which is so amazing. Like different heights, shapes, looks, not even just body type, like your look. If anything now, I think uniqueness is so wanted and requested by brands, by companies. They don't want everyone to look the same.
Well, if you think like the past 5 years, like if you go and look at
the campaigns.
Rest in peace, Topshop. Like, if you look at their models, they're having people with a huge gap, bushy eyebrows, all the things that you said deemed you ugly when you were younger.
I should have kept them all. Should have kept the bushy brows and that. They're all the things.
Like Primark, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Like they actually start to highlight those kind of looks.
Yeah, and even which I'm so for is editing. Like not editing women's cellulite, or not editing and changing women's bodies, and men, don't get me wrong, not taking scars away or marks away. We've all grown up with celebrity culture of Photoshop and being edited and seeing this perfection that we all strive for. We're like, oh my God, I need to look like that, otherwise I'm ugly, or otherwise I'm not good enough looking. When actually now, when they're not editing, I see it on ASOS, for example, if I'm online shopping, whatever, and I'm like, yes, they're not editing. Like, this is the real deal. This is what we look like. And that's, and younger guys should see that. We grow up and think we have to be absolutely, perfection is another whole topic. Like,
yeah, we talk about quite a lot that we feel like we're all for everyone being accepted, but we still think that we need to not promote health. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I think like
it's a fine balance.
It's catch-22.
Like, I don't know if you guys have watched it, but like the moment I'm watching on Amazon Prime, Lizzo's Big Girls.
No, I didn't know that was even on there.
So it's a TV show, and she's hiring. Basically, it's like a dance program, and she's looking for dancers.
Right.
And they're all like plus size dancers, aka big girls, and like, you know, they're all fantastic at what they do. And I'm not saying that this shouldn't be a TV show, but like, we all know what the TV shows are like. Like, this wouldn't be a TV show if it was just a bunch of people that look like you. You know what I mean? Like, they're promoting that it's okay to be a big girl.
It's a fashion.
But they're also utilizing the fact that they're big girls, and we're all going to go, no way they can dance like that. Like, you know what I mean? It's like
the pendulums, I feel, swung too far. This is not just in dance, but like in every industry, the pendulums swung too far in the wrong direction, I think, at the moment, because we are promoting being unhealthy now.
Yeah, actually listened to a really I can't think who it was now. I was listening to a really great podcast. Maybe if I find it, I'll send it to you guys later. But they were talking about exactly this. It's promoting like, if you're not healthy and it's not good for you to be, if you're naturally that size and you live a healthy lifestyle and you have like, I hate even using the word healthy, but you have a great relationship, a great relationship with food, like, you know, fab, great, wonderful. But if it's the opposite, where you don't have a healthy lifestyle, you don't have a healthy balance with food, then you're actually putting yourself in such a huge risk to look that way. And are you looking that way to meet the fashion? It's just like trying to be thin, like starving yourself to be thin to meet the fashion. It's like you say, it's the extreme other end, isn't it?
And then like, even like, fucking hate social media, but like, I see things as like, people will post like, oh, I hate that people are posting toxic positivity or toxic work hard or toxic healthy eating. You're over pushing it. Like, how can you be over pushing being healthy? Like, granted, like, you can, because I was over healthy because I ate so good and so clean. Yeah. But at the same time, like, we still have to
be healthy
because
absolutely, like, toxic positivity is ridiculous, but it's just an excuse for people to feel victimized and feel like they're allowed to not feel positive,
and they're allowed to not work hard. Like,
not work hard. It's like, okay, we're going deep now.
So, this is Jake's pool house. He's like, I'm in.
I love this. That's what I'm here for.
Jake's like, dance college, no idea. This, I'm in.
But like, I've just totally forgot my thought process.
Toxic positivity. No, toxic positivity.
Toxic positivity. It's like, I feel we live in a culture now where everything's handed to us, and like we've become codependent on governments, we become codependent on schooling systems, become codependent on a lot of other things, which I'm not going to mention. And then this whole toxic positivity thing is kind of playing into that idea that you shouldn't be a go-getter and work hard person because there's an expectation for stuff to come to you, you know? And it's like, again, I think it's just an excuse. It's like an excuse.
I just look at it like, if we go back thousands and thousands of years, before we had the internet, before we had anything, you people that don't work hard would die of starvation, and I would live. Like,
plain and simple.
Plain and simple. Like,
yeah, it's one of those. How can you be scrutinized for working hard, or for pushing, or for wanting more, or wanting a healthy lifestyle, or wanting a positive lifestyle, or wanting a positive mindset or outlook? I just don't see how
that's a negative.
Yeah.
Like, how often do you need more work-life balance?
Yeah.
A lot?
Every day.
Every day. And it's like, to me, that's the most crazy thing in the world, because I've created a life where I don't need a balance because my working life is so good. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I've worked so hard to make a life that doesn't need balance.
We don't have a job that we hate.
Yeah.
Like, if we worked, say,
something you would
I used to work in Tesco's for 4 shifts, like on the tills.
As in, you only lasted 4 shifts.
As in, I quit after 4 shifts, and I did McDonald's for 4 hours. Give it to me, All Saints for 2 days.
We've all been there. We've all done those. Yeah.
And I was, every time I'd be like, I can't do this. Yeah. Like, I need to go and work harder, like to achieve what I want to achieve. But like, if you were putting all your hours and hours and hours into doing one of those jobs, which I despised. Not that there's anything wrong with them if that's what you do, but for me, it just wasn't.
It wasn't working for you, and it doesn't make you feel fulfilled. It doesn't give you anything.
Like, if I'm doing that, like 40 hours a week and spending no time with my family or like things I love, then I'd have to have a conversation with myself going, I need to have a better balance. But I fucking leave the house at like 4:30 a.m. and I get home at 9 p.m. sometimes just to go and teach at a college. And I love it.
Yeah. Been there.
And I'm exhausted and I'm battered and I love it.
Yeah.
I don't need balance.
Yeah. People say to me all the time, oh my God, why do you drive? So like, that must be crazy. I exactly the same, leave to go teach. Why do I do it? Because I love it and I get so much from
fulfillment
it.
out of it.
Yeah.
It's not all, and that also, like, one thing I would say as well about the industry, I think it's a huge misconception that's not spoken about, is people don't understand how long a days you do, how hard it is as a self-employed dancer when you are on those long contracts or those jobs, or how up and down it can be. I think people think they just see the glamorous side. They're like, oh yeah, I'm going to go quickly do like a quick gig, and you just jump on stage, do it and leave. Like they don't see all of the hours that go into that. Like, you leaving your house to get to the airport, like what time are you going to leave? Probably 3-4 o'clock. Getting to the airport, flying to wherever, going and doing a rehearsal, then doing a tech run, then doing a whatever run, then going to costume. Like you can do easily like an 18-hour day. Easy.
Especially if it's a music video. And you probably dance for an hour. That's why I don't do them.
But no, work-life balance. I mean, with dancers, I find that is something that comes up a lot.
Right. In what context?
That they don't have any balance. They don't know how to put themselves as a first priority, because they're always used to being the second priority. They need someone to tell them what they want to do. Like it's difficult. You go through your whole career being kind of at other people's mercy and people telling you what to do, what your schedule is.
You're a professional guinea pig.
Yeah.
Go there, move stage right, carry a prop, lift this thing, be at makeup at this time. Every day is like under instruction from the person who's paying you. So like a normal job, but like the difference is... You
forget your own voice. What do I want? Like, and for example, work-life balance, like how do you build, which is why... I'm again a huge, I suppose, awakening for me. It's like, wait a minute, what's the lifestyle I want now in the present moment? It's going to be different to what I wanted at 19. And a lot of people continue the same lifestyle through, like for 10, 20 years, and then it gets to the 20 years, and they're like, I'm not really living I'm not happy. I'm not living the lifestyle I want.
Getting back on that, what did you say earlier? The habit wheel or something? The old habits, like trying to make new habits. Yeah. It's that autopilot, isn't it? Yeah. There we go. Thank you. Autopilot mode, the default.
Yeah. I think, like, again, like you said, there's no voice, and there's nothing wrong with you asking yourself, what do I want? And also there's nothing wrong with you wanting different things. And there's also nothing wrong with you understanding there's different seasons and different chapters in your life. Like, you, for example, you might be like, yeah, I'm here for all that travel. I'm loving it. I'm loving life. I've got, maybe you haven't got kids, you're not married, like you're free, you can do what great. And you're loving that lifestyle and you're having a great time. 10 years down the line, you might feel very differently, where you're like, I've actually got responsibilities. And they're a priority to me and they make me happy. And I don't want to be doing that right now. Yeah. And that's okay to say no.
Like I turned down my dream job before Christmas.
What was it? Oh God, do you want to tell me? Oh God, what is it?
It was Magic Mike.
Oh,
but like I turned it down and it's not because I don't want the job. I'd fucking love to do the job, but I don't want the lifestyle. Well, I don't want the life that comes with it. Like I just did 4 years living on a tour bus, being away from home. Yep. Like now I've got a puppy and a fiance. I don't need to be in London 5 days a week, every week.
I hear you.
It's like every week I've got to be in London 5 days a week. Like
it's a different lifestyle in
London.
Where
would I sleep? How would I get home? Like all these things don't match the lifestyle that I've managed to create for myself. And it's not that the job wasn't worth it, because the job's amazing.
And also for you, for example, like, the job is amazing. And it's really funny because actually I won't say, but Magic Mike, great, fab. It's a different lifestyle in the sense of, how do I say this? How do I say this? That one job is amazing. It's a year contract, like fab. That's security, right, for that year. But also how is that time taking away from the bigger picture of what you want for the next 20 years?
Yeah. That's the exact
Does that make sense?
Sentence you said to me, because we were talking about this, whether we should take it.
Because in the moment you feel so pressured.
I worked so hard to build like the ins and outs, for example.
Yeah.
Like I make what a decent living.
And you're passionate about it, and you feel
from building a brand, which is like ours, and like working my ass off to get into these different colleges, and I'm so proud to teach at them. I will lose all that.
Yeah.
Like,
and actually, how much further can the ins and outs go for you? Because in Magic Mike, you're a piece of the puzzle. You're not the star of that show.
No, I'm building someone else's brand, and
Yes.
I'm all for it. But at the moment, I've managed to create my own brand.
Yes. So it's like, would that be a risk? Yeah.
And that's what I said. I was like, you know, like momentarily, it's a win. But in 5 years' time, what does that look like for me? Do I still have a fiance? Do I still have a dog?
No, but that's a serious thing, right? That's like,
For being like, we've made a life together where we get to spend, like, I mean, I'm still away all the time. I'm still away all the time.
But time is just as valuable as money and as credits.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, you haven't, like, I didn't even ask the fee. I didn't care. I was like, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter the money.
Yeah.
Because if the money's amazing, which it is.
It's great money for the guys.
I was like,
I know that because
yeah.
I went for I got asked to do, what's it called? The mermaid?
Sexy mermaid.
The water dance, basically, the water dance, which Hannah is perfect for. And she is the perfect person. And I'm so glad that she's doing it.
Like, it's just, I didn't want to be swayed. I didn't want money to sway my lifestyle. So I was like, I don't want to know it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, don't tempt me.
But lifestyle, like, again, it's like with dancers, performers, when we're trained, conditioned, there's never even that question. What lifestyle do you want when you're older, or in the next 10 years or 5 years or even year? What lifestyle do you want?
Before COVID, bitch, I'd have been there. I'd have hopped on it.
Yeah, of course you would.
I'd have been there.
That's our instant reaction,
I'd have been there in
right?
about 10 seconds.
But that's our instant reaction.
Yeah.
And it's same for me. Like, even now, I have autopilot. My autopilot is to say yes. Before I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like, no, wait, hang on.
But I guess you spent a whole life going, I need a yes, I need a yes, I need a yes.
Yeah.
So the moment you get given is that instant.
Yeah. And sometimes we feel obligated to say yes before we even know the information.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
That happens so much where they go, like, I got
are you available for such and such?
I got asked on Sunday, can you be in Crystal Palace by midday? Are you available? And I was like,
what, as in on the day?
As in 3 hours before it.
Right.
Which, you know, it's lovely that they thought of me, that I can go in. Obviously, it's a last minute thing, or someone's broke their foot or some shit. I'm obviously going to be covering because no one asks if you're available that last minute. But
cool. Sorry, technical difficulties. So we were talking about how scarcity creates urgency because you're so you're so used to having to fight over opportunity.
Yeah. Just saying, it's really difficult, isn't it? Because with not just with agents, but just in general, I feel as a self-employed dancer, you feel worried. Well, self-employed in general, you feel worried that you're going to be penalised if you say no to something. So you feel obliged to always say yes, always,
because of the repercussions of saying no. Yeah,
you think if you even raise a concern, a query, you think, am I hard work? And if I say no for that reason, out of principle or value, are they going to go, oh, I'm not going to bother asking her next time because she won't do what she's asked. She won't just fall in line, or he won't fall in line.
I'm sure that leaves a lot of opportunity for exploitation.
Yeah, and actually, do you know what? I was listening to your podcast because I'm a massive lover of her, Taja Riley. I'm obsessed. I love her. We've had her on Someone Now Artists as well. And I just love her. And you guys were talking about this. People coming in and doing it for such low money, like undercutting, because older, more experienced dancers or performers or artists, whatever you want to call them, rightfully say, this is my worth. This is what, you know, these are the things the needs that need to be met. Otherwise I'm not doing the job.
Yeah.
But we're not supported in that, which I find really crazy, because we should be. Because actually your agent shouldn't be asking that of you at all, because they should be behind you and they should want those things for you too.
Yeah, what blew my mind in that though is when she went, the lowest I made in a year was like 90.
Yeah, $95,000.
$95,000. And I was like,
we're in the wrong city.
Well, as a performer?
Yes,
welcome
to the States.
She says this solely as a dancer, as a performer, the lowest she's made. I was like,
but the rates are crazy different in the States.
Yeah, but even still, I didn't make remotely near that. Did you?
I wish I was though. You know, she is.
I mean, she did tour with Janet at 17. Like,
okay,
she's incredible.
She's exceptional.
She's a top 1%.
She's the exception.
She's Cristiano Ronaldo in football.
Yes.
Like,
so, but then when you think about like that, right? She's making what, 95 grand. Cristiano Ronaldo is making what, like 50 million.
And that was her whole. But that was her whole point. Like, why is she not making more when she's as a top athlete of her industry? And that's what blew my mind. It's wild. But then I think about, you know, her advocating and saying and having a voice means people won't, she's saying people are now not asking me to do those jobs. Do you see what I mean? She's not falling in line, which means she's going to pay the penalty for it. And that's the same for all of us, scarcity. We all go, oh, I have to say yes because you think you can't say no.
And the people hiring know that, don't they?
Of course they do.
I think that
they push you in a corner.
I was thinking about this the other day about the Dancers Network team.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, I wonder what like repercussions they've faced that they might not even know about, where they might be like, should we hire them? Because they're still working dancers. You know, like, and they're fighting for dancers to earn more money and being treated better.
Yeah.
I bet some creatives go, do you know what? Like, there could be a problem on this one because this is like, or
because they know their rights.
Because we know we're doing something wrong.
But you touched upon this, right? With Dance Dance Dance, like you become that person who, when you query something or you raise awareness about something, which is just, you're not being hard work. You're not trying to be, you're being greedy. You're asking for what's right in terms of you as a professional. So I had this really early on. This is, again, now when I think about it in hindsight, probably the reason why I did start So What Now Artists. Early on, I was doing a music video for a UK band, whatever. And we were asked on the shoot day, we were shooting. Someone came in from Universal and gave us a load of contracts. They're basically asking us to sign our rights away. They were saying they could use any background footage, any pictures taken, anything was taken, which we were actually unaware of because we were shooting. It could be used for album covers. It could be used for promotion. It could be used for their social media. We'd be paid nothing more than a day rate.
So you would never get...
I refused to sign it. I was the only dancer who refused to sign it.
What
happens
the repercussions
then?
Of that?
Exactly. I'm the problem.
I had a waiver before, is like, if you sign this, we're already like same thing, we're already on the job. We're already like shooting stuff. And they're like, oh, you need to sign these waivers.
You need
and
to.
I read it, like, and loads of dancers just signed it, and I read it, and it was like, we have the rights to use this footage for the next 10 years on any platform which is current or could be future made or any media streaming. I was like, so if they figure out how to project shit on the moon, I've just said yes to this for $2,000.
I love the way your brain goes.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like
the absolute.
No, imagine it was a couple of hundred.
Yeah. Mine was for like an advert. So like, but I was like, no.
A really good.
I didn't sign it.
No, and so you shouldn't. But
haps.
also, you should be backed for that. Like, you shouldn't be made to feel that you're the problem. Why are you not signing it? Dancers will sign it because they are too scared that they will be penalised afterwards and that people won't want to work with them. And actually, if you all stood together as a team, as a unit, very much like the unions in the US, very much like Taj is talking about, very much like Dancers Network is fighting for as well, if we all came together, like I remember saying, don't sign it, read it.
Well, there's this interesting study. This is going to be a wide circle, but bear with me here.
Ready for this?
If a chimp had found a better way to crack nuts, and then they integrated with a new pack which did it a less efficient way, the chimp would revert back to the less efficient way to crack nuts because of how scared they were to fall out of the pack, sort of thing. And there is this massive like sheep mentality of, I don't want to step away from the grain out of fear of being segregated or cast to the side.
Yeah.
So it must be super hard.
I'm trying to be the goat, not the sheep.
That's a really good way to put it.
I'm trying to be the goat, yo.
That's a really good...
Absolutely. I'm not supporting being the sheep at all, but I can understand how easy it must be
But I also hope that the sheep do actually do support, because you're doing it for them as much as you're doing it for yourself. Like... a really great example the other day, Katie Collins.
I saw this as well. I shared it.
And
Katie, you are a legend.
And she's iconic. And also, if you have not witnessed her, she is just she's just incredible. Like a performer, artist, dancer. She is wonderful.
She is like the full package. Yeah. She's hiring a female dancer.
Yeah, she can do anything. She can do anything. But for example, she put up this post. People may have seen it. Obviously, you've seen it. She put up the post about the video she did. She was, is it 1975s? Am I saying that right? Yeah.
Something like that.
Their music video had something like, don't quote me on this, but it's something along the lines of like 19 million views, right? She is the video, pretty much. She plays like this iconic clown. Like she is like the main character, should we say, of the video, with obviously the band. She put, I was paid X amount for this as a day rate. If she had been paid £1, she's obviously just, even one, 0.2. She was paid even a teeny percentage of those views. Think of the money she would have. Why isn't she being paid that? Because it's being played over and over again, and it's her art and her talent that sells that video. And that's what blows my mind, because actors...
But could you
get
not
those
say that
royalties.
about the producer? Could you?
You could, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, where does that line
go?
I'm going against it for the record.
No,
but
I totally do agree. But at the same time, for example, royalties of films, the whole cast.
Do you guys know? Do you know anything? Do you know much about Jackass? Like the TV production?
I mean, I think I've only watched the films.
TV show. So what they did with their first season is they didn't get paid.
But they got paid in royalties.
They said, we'll take a percentage of like money that the show makes because they believed in their product so much. And I'm not saying that everyone should do this, but like they're Jackass. Like they're Jackass. They're all balling. Yeah. They made a fortune.
Well, sorry, you go.
No, I was just going to say, but if you, so for example, for a video or a film, if you, as much as, for example, like the actor, I won't say actress, I think that's wrong. I think you have to say actor. If you are the star, or even if you're a part of the cast, you'll be paid royalties for that film, right?
And your fee.
Yeah. So why aren't dancers treated? Or I'm not saying dancers in like you're in the background. I'm talking like featured heavily dancers that are like there's one dancer in a music video, or you are a heavily featured part in a film where you speak. Why are you not then treated the same as like the cast?
Is that just because of a cultural difference? Like, I remember this was in 50 Cent's book. He, instead of asking for a wage, he asked for equity of the business of a company. It was a water company that he got involved with. And then he made a shitload more money from having equity in the company. Could you, as a dancer, hustle for that?
The thing is, I think where it doesn't come down to our voices negotiating with production company, it goes through someone who deals with the production company, which then deals with someone else, and then they'll deal with an agent.
There's too long of a chain.
The agent will just go, there's 1,000 people to choose from, who's easy maybe. Right. Like, you know.
And they're going to book, let's be real, if they get given two agencies and one agency is saying you have to pay royalties for this, or you have to pay usage or a buyout, whatever you want to call it, for whatever that circumstance, whatever the job is. And then the other agency is like, oh, you just pay a day rate, even though you are using their face for a year, or they're in a huge film, who are they going to go with?
Of course.
Because they want to save dollar.
But again, is it like... and whilst that transitionary period must suck, is that a cultural difference that you can start to create? I'm not saying you individually.
I wish, just us. But this is where, like, you know, I know Dancers Network are fighting so hard, and this is where I have so much respect for them, because they are really trying to make that change, and they're trying to bring, I suppose, the agencies together. They're trying to work with equity, etc. It's so much beyond like one of us. It's the whole picture.
Again,
every
I wasn't
no, I know. But like every agency would have to be on board. Agency, because if there's even one that undercuts, or one who goes, oh, don't worry about paying those royalties, there's the one that they go with. And again, it's like quality over quantity. Like where is the quality? Like that's what drives me. That's the thing that drives me a little bit mad, is I feel frustrated by it, that dancers actually who do have a successful career, for example, like yourself, why can't you come out at the end of that career, and why can't you have savings? Why can't you have a house paid for? Why can't you have, like, you've reached like a huge peak as an athlete in your industry, and if you were a footballer, it'd be very different. If you're a tennis player, it'd be very different. I'm talking money wise. So why isn't that there
for the dancer? Why isn't that? Like, what do you reckon historically created that lack of awareness?
No, it used to be better. It's got worse.
It's got worse. Right. It's got more saturated.
Is
it saturation?
Yeah. So say Dancers Network kind of changed the rates probably 5 years ago, maybe. Like they upped the rates. Before that, like a regular fee would be like 100 to 150 for rehearsal, 250 for the show. Like that would be like a standard going rate. Well, that was the same rate like in 1998.
There's been inflation, but our fee hasn't gone up.
But the difference is then they used to get like an Uber. Well, they didn't have Uber then.
A car would pick them up, take them.
Cab. They get like a...
Top of the pop stays,
Adley, that's the word I was thinking. You get an Addison Lee. They'd pick you up at your house. They'd take you to the shoot. You'd get PDs, or you get catering on site.
Yeah.
Then you get like residuals or royalties, whatever you want to call it.
Whatever you want to call them.
For whenever the show was aired. By the time I was working, none of that existed.
Yeah,
none.
same.
And is that just because there's been such an influx of people trying to work as professional dancers?
Yeah, and also willing to they're not educated on what they should be accepting as fees.
I like the way you reworded that. That was clever.
I had to. I was like, oh, wait.
But that's what Dancers Network are trying to do, is educate.
Yes. And also it comes, from, conditioning, doesn't it? Growing up being taught you have to say yes to everything. I should be thankful they want me. I should have, I should just do it for free because I'm so lucky to be someone who gets to dance in.
Get this opportunity.
To get this opportunity, exposure for this music video. Like there comes a time when it's no longer your hobby and that's a profession. But we carry on the mindset of a hobby.
Got you.
And that's what that's where the education has to come in, and that's also where Dancers Network and also colleges. And I can't speak because I'm not in every single college. I don't have, I don't know. But I will say from what I see on social media, I do feel like they are making a real effort to bring in outsiders and getting industry knowledge or getting educators in and trying to make sure that their dancers are leaving with some form of like foundation.
So
and
you are
worth.
seeing input now.
I mean, there's been a small shift. I mean, but then again, I'm not in colleges, so I can't, talk. I only know from the ones I've been in, or like, for example, if I see Kane or someone else going into another one, I'm like, yes, like that's a mini win that they're getting someone in to have that industry talk or to give them that, or even equity. I don't know, whatever it may be.
I think every college should have Dancers Network in there or equity.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not even equity because they're pretty shit. I think without Dancers
Network, equity need to modernize.
Without Dancers Network, like equity.
They wouldn't be stepping
combined?
up unless Dancers Network.
They work together, I believe, on stuff. But before like Dancers Network, like I've never used equity in my life. Like I've genuinely I'm not signed up to it. I've never used it because it was never a thing when I was like working a lot.
I was really grateful to equity. Only one time I had an experience where I had actually done a job without an agent, which obviously I know there's a lot of controversy where people say, "Oh, you shouldn't do that," and I'm on both sides of it. But I just hadn't, and I rang them and I was like, "Oh, I haven't actually received like X, Y, and Z. Could you chase it up for me?" But I wasn't a part of equity. I wasn't a member.
Right.
And they did chase it up for me, and that worked out hugely in my favor. So I'll give them props for that. But I'm not an equity member. I was years ago, but I didn't really see much from it.
Because I believe you get like
you should be.
You get a pension.
I would be now, but the problem is when you've been a member and then you stop it, you then have to repay all the years that you weren't with them. Which is a lot of years. So I've just chosen not to. I don't know if that still is the case. That was the case when I checked a few years ago. But I would say if you were a new grad, then yes, then equity would probably be great for you. But education, knowledge is key.
You brought in off air, slight conversation shift about sexual harassment on sets.
I love that you've just dropped that. What a deep topic.
It's on this.
Why were you talking about that off here?
Okay.
Basically, guys, Jake grazed my thigh when he
It's now on air.
Now on air, guys, you've seen it.
and I was like, help!
He's like, had it.
But we'll as I said, we're discussing off air, like not a sexual harassment. That's the wrong word to use. But
no, but I just think there's a lot of topics, like of course, aren't explored and aren't spoken about. They're not spoken about, are they? And again, education, I was never spoken. I mean, were you spoken about that? Like, was that ever even brought to your attention that could happen? Like sexual harassment in the workplace, those words?
And as we see, like, I'm sure it happens here too, but in the States over the past 2 years.
Oh, wow. It's exploded.
Everyone's getting cancelled left, right and center. Conventions, like it's all over the shop.
And it needs to be spoken about because there's so many, and I won't say women, there's so many performers, dancers who are exposed to that and they deal with it on their own. They never speak about it. They don't have anyone to go to with it either. Because again, if you say something, you're going to get blacklisted. Simple as. That person won't employ you. If you cause a fuss or you cause them hassle, they're not going to book you to work. So a lot of dancers feel trapped where like they're experiencing something, they can't speak to anyone else about it on the job or out of the job, and then they don't want to be out of their work or out of their paycheck, so they just shut up and get on with it. And that's not on, because in any other profession it wouldn't be tolerated. They'd be fired. That person would not be able to be in power how they are.
Is there somewhere that dancers can go to?
That's a really good question.
I just always go Dancers Network, and they're probably like, "No, Kane, we don't want
Dancers Network for everything." I don't know.
I have no idea.
Maybe that's something.
The police.
Actually, yeah. But I think it's definitely worth talking about because, I mean, I said to Kane previously, as a male, have you experienced it? Because I always think as a female, it's more of a female issue. But actually, it must be on par.
I think it does. I was in the Dream Boys, so I experienced it from audience members, not necessarily people I worked with.
Okay, well, that's a really good question, though. Like, how do you deal? Okay, again, no one tells you this, right? How do you deal with someone? I had this not even long ago on a job where someone in an audience decided to grope my butt, like fully grope it, and it was a woman, which I didn't expect. And it wasn't like a quick grope; it was a full, like her hands were lingering, and I was mid.
Were you on stage or something?
Yeah,
on stage,
literally, like it was like more immersive, so we were on the same level.
Right.
So I wasn't on a high up stage, which I'm used to. So what do you do in that?
What did you do?
Well, one part of me wants to turn around and punch her in the face and be like,
but you're on set.
Doing? Yeah.
Because if we were in Tesco's, I'd turn around and punch you in the face.
Yeah. And it's like that shock, because you're like, how do I deal with this situation? Because no one's ever told me what to do. I decided to just like playfully like take her hands away and kind of like give her a tell off, like, but in like a characterful way, like don't be so like, and you know, and she was escorted out before I could even blink. Like there was two guys
really good.
who grabbed her and literally were like,
I can't say that's ever happened.
But that's not always the case, right? Yeah. So yeah, for you, what was?
I don't know. I feel like because of the job, it kind of like...
Yeah,
You're almost signing up for it. It sounds awful.
Yeah, but yeah.
But you shouldn't be, because like if we went to a strip club like and just started groping the woman, I'd get kicked out.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Like it's not the same, but like it kind of just, it comes with the... I hate even saying it, but it's like I kind of know that.
But then you say it comes with territory, but then...
but it shouldn't, because it doesn't happen the other way around, like I just said. And people will go like, oh, you bet you love the attention from all the women. Like I used to get it all the time. I bet it's the best job ever. I bet you love the attention. I'd be like,
when you're getting groped by 60-year-old
really.
Shirley.
I would literally say like, the women is the worst part of the job.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Like the performing is fun. The being with my friends is amazing. The money is decent. The women ruin it. But without them, we don't have the job.
Yeah.
Like not all the women, that's harsh, because some of them are fantastic. And guys, there's been like guys there which have done it as well, like not just women.
But what I put to you is, right, if you, okay, for me or for another female, if I've got a music video or I've got a job where it's super sexual, like sexualized, should I say, the choreography, maybe I'm like partly nude, X, Y, and Z. I'm doing my job, I'm doing this music video, maybe I've got to interact with, let's say, whoever it may be, Jason Derulo, let's just put him there. And, it's very like intimate, it's very like fiery, whatever. There's a whole camera crew there, all that jazz, choreographer, whatever. Because I've gone, oh, that's a part of the job, and that's what I'm happy to like put myself in that situation, and I'm all for it when I'm in front of the camera. Is it okay then for someone from the behind the camera, for example, the producer, the director, the choreographer, to then message me and be like, very forward, should we say, or like, do you want to come to my hotel room? Let's just have a drink, and then for them to think it's okay to try it on with me. But then if I say no, they're like, oh, well, you're up for it earlier. Do you see what I mean?
Are you speaking from experience or hypothetical here?
Definitely from experience.
Okay.
The thing is, right, so like I see...
Not with Jason Derulo. Let's just put that out there.
Yeah,
definitely. I've never watched Jason Derulo. He must be, I'm sure he's wonderful.
The Ins and Outs podcast is now cancelled.
No, Jason's dope. No, Jason's cool.
But
so hear me out. There's two sides to it, right?
Yeah.
So say he messaged you and he's like, hey, you look great. Like, I'd love to like meet you. Like, we're here for one night. Do you want to grab a drink?
Yeah.
That's how people date.
Yeah.
Like if we didn't message and we didn't do that, like, or that didn't happen, like, you don't know, like you could say yes and that could be your boo forever.
True.
Like it could be like a ride off into a sunset. Like, oh my God, we met on set. But if you say no, it just needs to be an accepted, like, okay, no worries.
But what happens if you say no and then all of a sudden they stop booking you for things, and all of a sudden or for example, even on set, they make it very, you've hurt their ego and they make it very obvious.
I that's the thing. Like I don't have the
hard,
answer.
right?
I don't know. But at the same time, I'm not like.
But I totally understand what you're saying.
I'm not 1,000% against it. Like I met my fiance on a job.
Oh, I've dated dancers. I can't even talk. Like,
you know what I mean?
I've gone out with dancers.
See, obviously, I film women all day, every day. I've never messaged a female dancer. I've never messaged a dancer off after filming them ever. I really draw the line at that.
But for example, if we were in like a corporate job, would it be the same? would it
It's
be
a grey
treated
area,
the
isn't
same?
it?
It is a grey area, isn't it? And that's where I'm like, oh.
I don't have the answer.
No, there doesn't need to be an answer.
No. The answer is exactly what you said. Like, it's totally I totally get what you're saying because again, because it could be something.
Say me and you, hypothetically,
Yeah.
we're not getting married
Yeah.
to other people. And we did a job together.
Yeah,
and then after rehearsals, we got home and I was like, yo, I vibed with Hannah. Like,
yeah,
hey,
I'm gonna message her. Yeah.
like, should we grab a drink tomorrow night? Like, I don't see the issue with that.
Yeah. But for example, if I don't reply to you, or for example, I put quite politely, like, hey, I make it obvious that I'm not interested, but I think you're a lovely guy, blah, 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 blah.
I don't do short ginger men.
But if that was the case and then we went to work the next day
You need to be exactly the same.
you carried on messaging me and kept like trying and you're not getting the no.
Yeah.
That's harassment 1.
Yeah.
And then 2, if you start making sexual innuendos at work in front of the whole cast, that's sexual harassment. And then obviously if you then try it on, like in an actual physical way,
then it's a write-off.
Right? So it's like where is that?
And the thing that's like, we already cross so many boundaries within our job that like,
yes,
corporate jobs don't. Like like how many times in a job where would me and you have to get changed next to each other?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, I would just take my clothes off and think nothing of it. Yeah.
Every single job?
Yeah.
Like,
literally backstage, like quick change.
Like you're half naked next to each other. Like,
or also
and
dancing.
you've seen each other run around naked backstage and you don't bat an eyelid. You just go, it's like...
Or if someone slaps your ass on set, that's like a big one someone spoke about recently. They were like, where are those lines? Because for example, we get so comfortable with each other.
Yeah, like there's a scene where you've got to sit on my lap.
Yeah, or
like with your legs around me, and we go, this is fine.
And there's like a lift, or there's like a whatever, or like.
And then they go cut, and I keep you there. You know what I mean? That's it's like, no, let go. Like so this is no longer the job.
So like, how do we educate younger dancers to have a conversation? What are you comfortable with? And also to be able to speak to your partner. Because for example, I've been really fortunate. All my partners have been like an absolute dream. Like they've been a hoot. They've been fun. I've had the best time with them. I've never felt like a weird energy or anything like that. But for example, if you are in a situation where you don't feel comfortable, but you still need to do your job, could you like, have that be, I guess, grown or adult enough to say like, look, when we're dancing, absolutely, we need to do what we need to do. But when it's cut, that doesn't mean you slap my ass behind the scenes and you think it's accept. Do you see what I mean?
Have you, in your experience, found that dancer to dancer, you never have that issue? It's people that are external to being a dancer.
Yeah,
like you said,
power.
The producers, the other
it's
people
not
in the
dancers.
background.
Male dancers, female. I feel never had a problem. Yeah. I mean, again, I can't.
No, with the female dancer.
Yeah, very respect. Like not even about respect, but like I've always just felt really comfortable and safe.
Because they get it, right? Because they're part of the same product.
Even if it is really like sexual choreography or whatever, or like it's really intimate. And I've had to kiss someone like with the whole camera crew watching and he's literally like there.
So awesome.
And I wasn't told about that either for that job.
Right.
That was very much on them. And again, that was a big thing where I was like, that wasn't something I signed up for. That should be discussed. More money. And also again, like education, like what do you do in that situation? Do you have the power to say, I'm not comfortable with that?
Yeah, you do.
And I didn't sign up for that.
Yeah.
Or do you do it?
What did you do?
I did it because of that. The situation I'm talking about is a situation which wasn't very comfortable.
If you say no, what's the repercussion?
And that's what I felt. Yeah. What is the repercussion of that? And will I not get booked after that?
So let's...
I mean, in an ideal world, what you'd do is be like, I just need to call my agent and you tell them to solve this problem.
Yeah.
But...
luckily enough, the guy actually was the guy who I had that scene with, the dancer, was an
absolute dream,
most respectful guy. He's so talented. He's called I won't mention, but he's just phenomenal. He didn't make me feel remotely uncomfortable. He's actually, do you know
we
what?
were both thinking it, right?
He's not my type.
If I've got it, if you're on set and you're like, you've got to kiss a girl, I'd be like, really? They'd be like, she's hot. And I'd be like, I'm a little bit less disappointed.
I'm so sorry, George. I'm getting
You're a little bit less disappointed.
Yeah. He's not my type, but he's beautiful. So I put it this way, my friend picked me up from rehearsals and she was like, who the hell is he? He is amazing. I mean, she wanted to date him in a heartbeat, put it that way.
So let's create the hypothetical that happened on a job this weekend. How would you respond now?
Now, like if I was put in a position, first of all, that'd be a question I'd ask. like, is there intimate scenes? For nudity, is that a part of it? Am I kissing those questions need to be, you need to be given that information before you agree to something.
Let's say it's just no, like you just wouldn't expect it from the brief.
If I was in that situation and it just was quite clearly happening, should I say, and I felt like I was being taken advantage of, I would just quite frankly take myself to the side, speak to either like the choreographer or call my agent and speak to them straight away and have them deal with it, because I just wouldn't feel, actually, it's not my place.
It's not your battle to fight.
It's not my battle to fight either.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
And that's what they're there for.
That's what your agent's there for.
It's to be your safety blanket, and also to have those hard conversations, and also to give you backing. Like, they represent you, and you shouldn't be put into any, what's the word? You shouldn't be put into any position where you feel vulnerable. Yeah, very vulnerable, and that happens all the time.
Good. Well, yeah, again, I think that's important to know for younger dancers and newcomer dancers, which is what we're all about. I feel like you got about to say something.
Yeah, I do. Go on.
It's just nuts. It's like, it's shit that like my brain doesn't even think about. Like, and I don't know if that's like me being a guy where I'm fortunate, like it's like some white male privilege. Like, I don't know. It's like, it's just something that doesn't really cross my brain. You know what I mean? Like, as in that might happen on set where you go there and they go, you have to kiss someone and you don't want to. Because it's not happened to me. It's not even something which crosses my brain. So it would never have been something that I'd be like, we should teach people this.
I think it's just so, again, didn't have it in our generation, I suppose, but I just think it's so key that the younger generation, or even dancers even now who are in in the mid of their career, like, they need to know that they have a voice. They need to know that they are a professional and they should be respected as a professional, and also that they should just be given all of the information. I don't understand there's nothing wrong with giving information. Why are we not giving them that information? And why aren't we giving them the tools they need to navigate through? Because we're all different. We're all going to go on different paths. Like, we all can't predict what situations we're going to land in. End of. Like, it could be a situation where you haven't been paid for 4 months, whatever, and you've got to deal with that. It could be a situation where you are being blacklisted, or you are being sexually harassed, and you don't have anywhere to turn. Like, there's 1,000,001 avenues you can go down, but how can we give more information? How can we make them feel more prepared? Preparation is key. And the fact that we're not mentally preparing blows my mind, because I didn't feel mentally prepared to go into the industry. And then I was just exposed.
Is that something that's being covered in So What Now Artist? This is now my plug.
Yeah.
This is my plugging moment.
Nice transition.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm going to go somewhere with this in a second as well. So
yeah, it is. And that was the whole reason. I think I might have said to you, came before, and we did the first podcast, however long ago that was now, 4 or 5 years ago. Like, the reason I started So What Now Artist, the Instagram page, originally was because I felt I couldn't voice my opinions on my Hannah Levitt Collins page, because I was being told. It was too close to your identity. Yeah, I was being told basically, like, you can't have a voice, and if you do have a voice, people won't employ you. Straight. And I was like, that's not good for me, because then I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. So I set up So What Now, and originally it was just to inspire other dancers and to open up a conversation of, look, these dancers look super successful, but actually this is, they've been through this has been their journey, this has been their process. So that's how it started. But now, it's mental preparation. It's not just for graduate dancers though, it's for dancers who are also very much in their career and they're trying to navigate, or they're trying to get themselves further, or they're trying to grow. And it's not just in a sense of as a dancer, it's as a human, it's as a person. Like, how am I being aware of what I'm doing, and is this working for me in the present moment? And if it's not, how can I change it? How can I adapt it? How can I evolve it?
So, talking about evolving and adapting, is there a trend in the people that come to you about what they're doing wrong in their industry? Like, what do you most pick up on for your, what's the word, mentorees?
Yeah, mentorees is the right word.
Is that the word?
Yeah, the thing that is.
Let's go.
The thing I pick up on the most is, one, lack of knowledge, and that's in terms of like rates. That's in terms of who's who in the industry. That's in terms of how the industry works. That's in terms of what, I suppose, what you gain in experience on the job, like how things go. The other thing I pick up on is mental preparation, like I said. So in terms of how to navigate through, what are their triggers, how to process their own shit, should I say, and how to come out of it, work on it, build on it, be stronger mentally so that they can be the better version of them, and so that they're not getting in their own way. That's like the biggest common thing I see, people getting in their own way. Mentally, they're almost like paralyzing themselves. They're getting so worked up in their head in terms of comparison, in terms of what it takes. They're not believing in themselves at all, when actually if they just got out of their own way, focused on their lane rather than everyone else's lane, they'll get there. Lack of knowledge as well in terms of agents, in terms of what they look for. Lack of knowledge in the sense of it's not just about the steps.
Yeah, that's what we try and preach a lot. Like, dance is very important, but
we shared a reel about it just yesterday.
Yeah, like, no, what you guys spoke about with Alex Camilla, like, you know, about being a nice person, being a good energy. Like, these are things that we speak about. So like every with the dancers I mentor, it's like we don't just sit there and talk about how to be a dancer. Quite far from. It's like, what energy do you bring in the room? What work ethic do you have? What is it to be a professional dancer or to be a professional as such? Mindset wise, are you working on your mindset? Are there any old habits? Could they be replaced with new habits? I mean, I could go into a million depths of it, and also exploring other people. Like, we have guest talks. We've had people like Josh Warmby, we've had Lisa Spencer, we've also had like Ali Temple, who's a life coach. We also have a friend of mine, Lorna Ryan, who's a nutritionist who's incredible. We try and explore so many different topics rather than just solely focus on dance. Like, there's so much more to it.
You're a business, right?
Yeah, business, branding, how to brand yourself, how to market yourself. Where do you fit in the market? One. Like, are you
that's a huge thing. Like, a huge thing is like, look at yourself realistically. What are you going to be lined up
and
for?
Be realistic. Like, I'm never going to dance for Nicki Minaj, and that's just a reality. Like,
yeah, me too, but
like, it's not going to happen.
I tried. I did. They said we just don't want white guys.
But we were turned around.
Real conversation.
Yeah.
I can tan well.
Oh, that's another conversation.
Real conversation. That's what happened to Casper. I was like, I'm available for Nicki.
Oh my
he
God.
was like, sorry, bro. He's like, just white and ginger.
You're just too white.
And I was like, cool. Cool.
Your bum's not big enough.
Nothing I can do about this.
For the girls, your bum's not big enough. That is the way it is.
My bum was big enough, but
got all the booty. Got all the booty. But being like real with yourself and understanding what your brand is and understanding where you fit. For example, like, I don't know. It's hard because I don't like to say to them, like, I do believe you don't need to be a type. There's a typecast, of course, but I do believe you can.
You can break this.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a white ginger guy. I should never be shirtless next to Nicole Scherzinger, but you can break the...
We have a lot of people in common. I love that you're just dropping all... Yeah, this is
like,
great.
you can break the mold if you're like... Your pros, your positives outweigh your cons, as in what matches the job.
And exploring the performer side, that is such a huge thing for me. That's one thing where I love, like, Galen Hooks is like one of my absolute, like, inspirations of life. I love how she breaks that mold. It doesn't matter what kind of dancer you are, how do you perform in front of a camera and how do you tell a story? So with them, a lot of them get, you know, they do, understandably, as we all did as dancers, you think, again, ability, it's all because of this, it's all because of that. Hang on, you're not actually seeing your full potential. You're just focusing in on what everyone else is doing, and you're focusing in also on all of your cons, should we say. Like, what are your pros, and how can we work on them? How can we make people see them? How can we put you into a spotlight?
Yeah. Interesting. And like, so again, as like a part of your membership program or for So What Now artists, I'm intrigued, how do you coach that side of dance? Like, what's your technique per se? Hard question, I know.
That side of dance in terms of like the business side and the branding side. So for me, it very much starts at, okay, where are they at? Like, for example, like, what am I doing? Like, who am I talking to? Is it, I need to know what they are. Like, are they a graduate? Are they someone who's been trying for 3 years and they're not seeing any results? What is their package? So for example, like, I want to see their showroom, I want to see their CV, I want to see their pictures, I want to see, or ask them, what training are you taking? Like, where are you at mentally as well? Like, how do you feel? where do you want to get to? What's the bigger picture, right? We need to know what the bigger discover what the bigger picture is before, like A to B.
You have to have a target to aim for. I guess.
There's no use in just being like, oh, my goal was my goal was to do this. That's one goal. Like, what is the bigger picture? So for me, it's breaking that down, and then it's me having a real. I'm there to be a support. I'm there to give them the information they need, but also like my opinion isn't the only opinion. I also really, really, really ask them to look at the industry as a whole, go to other people, go to intensives, go to other training sources. Like, they need to find their way. Yes, I want to help them through that, but I also want to make sure that they're not getting a biased opinion. Which
I'm so for that. Like, we obviously having the training program, we have people which do months and months and months back to back. And like I've said to you before, haven't I? I was like, I feel like they just need to go and like try something different.
Go do a Ricky Jinks.
And it was actually about like, obviously on here, it was about our friend Nina. Like 1 month I was like, I think she should like go and do like company Jinx, or she should do something where it's not her comfort zone, because I'm her comfort zone.
Yeah.
Like, that's why she's so great at my stuff, and that's why I love having her, because she's my friend. She's part of the team. Like,
I've mentored Nina. She was on the membership.
For her best,
she was great.
my interests are her, like, it's for her to have the best training and the best career possible. So for me to do my job to the full potential, it's not to be like, selfish. I want to hold on to you. It's like, I want you to spread your wings and try something different now.
It's exactly the same with us. Like, for someone our artists.
But to me, that's a real coach. That's a real teacher.
Yeah, I don't need to have them. I don't want to have. I shouldn't have you
if
forever
I've got you forever, I'm not doing my job. Not doing my job.
So some I might have for 2 months. I might have for 1 month. Some I might have for, say, 6 months or something like that, or even longer. But it's always up to them. It's a choice. Like, if they want to come back, and again, if they want to have a break, and then I've had people come back 6 months down the line because they've felt like they've got back into old habits, and they just need to have that, hang on, accountability. Let me just get back to where I want to get to, like back on track.
2 books for you that I think you'll really enjoy. Atomic Habits.
I actually bought that 3 weeks ago, and it's sat next to my bed, but I'm
really
finishing the one I'm on, but I really want,
And Coaching for Performance by Dr. David someone. Really good. So it's very it's more like lifestyle coaching technique. You said you had a life coach on quite recently, which made me think of it. But I think those 2 books you'd really enjoy.
Love that. A lot of the stuff that I do touch upon is lifestyle, and knowing that they do have a choice, and not feeling stuck. I think the whole purpose of Someone Else, when I started it, was I was so tired of how I felt previously, like feeling alone and lost, when there's a whole community out there who feel exactly the same as you, and they're going through the same things. So why can't we explore and talk about these topics? And why can't you have a mentor? Why can't you have a coach who helps you along that? I can't tell you.
You do in other sports.
Yeah, you do. You know? But when you see the journey and you see them do it, like as you know, like I literally couldn't feel any more joy. Like when I saw, for example, a previous member at the moment, she's just done the Netflix show that everyone's on. I saw her do the Brits of Ed Sheeran. Another member of mine, I can't even tell you, like the journey was like, crazy to see her do everything that we had kind of put up on her vision board, and things that she thought would never happen, like doing Adidas campaign, and it's on a billboard in Piccadilly Circus. And she was like, I can never be a model. I can never do this. I can never be blah, and she's doing it. She's done a film. She's done another Netflix show. 2 girls mentored who've just gone into Barbie. And I'm just like, when I see it actually happening, and I'm like, you're doing it, like you don't need me anymore, sort of thing. But it's giving them those tools, but also it's not just a case of like, here's a manual. It's also like, you actually need to do the work. You need to actually believe in yourself. Like if you don't believe in yourself, no one else is going to believe in you. It 100%. Always comes down to that.
What's the saying, Kane?
Which one, bro? There's so many.
Oh God.
People always invest in you less than what you invest in yourself.
Yeah. Do you know what? The amount of, for example, lover of podcasts, lover of books, the amount of, Jay Shetty's and X, Y, and Z that I listen to, when it comes to talking about it, it's really funny. Like everything goes out of my head. It just comes down to like me. But then when I'm coaching, it's the absolute opposite, where like all of that is at the forefront of my mind. It's really funny, isn't it? Putting yourself out your comfort zone is the biggest thing that I believe in. It's the biggest lesson I learned. I wish I put myself out my comfort zone much earlier in my career. It took me bloody long time to do it. So I really push for them to do that. And it's crazy to see the difference when they do, when they start to let go of the insecurities and when they start to come through, like you said it right at the beginning of this talk, that change, like transformation is insane. And if it stays with them for life, then that makes me happy. And I feel like I've done my part.
Absolutely.
100.
One more question.
Yeah, go on.
Should we do it? What can we expect from you in the next 3 to 6 months?
Oh,
Change of surnames. Hey!
Is that the next 6 months, is it?
it is the next 6 months.
Nice.
I don't know if I like my name though.
Well, me and Georgia talk about this all the time.
Do
She's like she says to my she's like, you're going to take my name. I'm like, am I, Mark?
I love
What is
that
George's
though.
last name? What was George's last name?
Martin.
Martin.
It's nice.
Kane Silver.
Yeah, Silver's great. You should just do double barrel. Join the double barrel.
Silver Martin. Martin Silver.
Sounds like a car.
No, Martin Silver's my friend. I know. I know someone called Martin. Like, no.
Sounds like Aston Martin. Yeah, so that obviously, for me, I guess, like I say, COVID into now and getting older, I suppose, it is really prioritizing like what I want from life and prioritizing what makes me happy rather than seeking like validation from jobs, which I used to do. Big thing.
Me too.
Big thing. All my work.
I still do.
In my job titles, yeah.
I still do. I see someone on a job and I'm like, I need to be on that job. And I go, why? I don't even want to do that job.
Yeah.
I just want to say
Trigger.
that I just want to say that I booked it.
Yeah. That was and is still an ongoing thing. And I think that will be with me for life. Like in terms of until I fully put a stop to like, I'm no longer being in front of a camera. I think that will always be with me. And it's something that I continue to work on and I'm aware of. But like I said, this next, even up to the end of this year, it's really doing continuing the self-work, 2, making sure that I am the best version of me for the dancers I mentor, so I can give my best to them and also that they then, redeem out of that. So What Now artist, I mean, I can't even believe that it's now 2 years old. Because the mentorship was not a thing that was ever thought of. Like it only came because of COVID. And I was like, people must be literally sat at home thinking the world's ending. And I actually said, I'll try it for a month and see what happens. It's 2 years.
2 years.
And I actually don't know how many people, and to anyone who's on it or has been on it, thank you so much. But I don't actually know how many people I've had on it like through the process. But that in itself, I want it to continue to grow. I want it to get better. I want it to get bigger. I always want it to be fresh. I don't want it to be something that just like plods along. It needs to grow. So that is a massive priority of mine and a bit like you, ins and outs. Like, that might mean...
It's my baby.
Yeah. So that's growing and I love it. And the self packages as well. Again, they came from freaking nowhere. Like that was so random. And that I really want to continue to grow in this next 3 to 6 months. Like, again, it's all about quality though. It's not about churning out one every day. Like that's not what it's about. It's about how do the clients or the dancer or artists, how do they feel? How do they feel when they walk out in comparison to when they walked in? And have they got what they needed in terms of the jobs they want and the agencies they want? And, that's a big part of it for me rather than it just being a portfolio shoot. It's so much more.
It's about creating impact rather than...
And it makes me so happy.
We talk about it a lot as well.
Yeah. I have another project that I'm working on, but it's still very much in the early days. And
Is that an off-air conversation? Or
yeah,
okay.
I think so. But it's...
Don't give away all your secrets until they're out.
I'm trying to work on that as well. Oversharing. That's something I do a lot.
Yeah.
Me too.
I've had the exact same thought process for the last few weeks as well.
Yeah.
I tell everyone everything before I've even done it. I'm like,
And then I'm so excited and passionate. I'm like, I've got this idea. I want to do this.
And then you're like, oh, that didn't come through. So that's quite a big step, should I say? And I'm really excited about it. And again, like I still want to perform. Like I think I don't know if you guys have found this, but like just because I have these side projects or these side passions that are a huge priority, but also it doesn't mean that I'm like all of a sudden like, I don't want to perform anymore and I don't want to be in front of. Of course I do.
Yeah.
I just want to.
I want to be in front of the right
Yes.
audience and do the right performances.
Yeah,
The
like-
ones that like fulfill me like emotionally and passionately and not just my bank account.
Yes. Doing it for that reason. It's a whole different relationship, isn't it? When you do it for that reason rather than just bank check. So that project will be hopefully, fingers crossed, like up and running by the end of the year, which will be really exciting. And that will be like, again, another new...
Well, of course, we'll help you promote it. So.
Of course.
Thanks. But yeah, I think that's it really. But the self-work is probably the most important thing for me, like mental health, mindset, creating the lifestyle I want, and being content with the choices I'm making, and being like conscious enough to be like, this is right by me, and I don't need anyone else to tell me like, you shouldn't do that, or you should do this, or, you know, being kind of the main character in my story, I suppose, is the main thing for the rest of the year, and I suppose going onwards.
Love it.
Dope. I have one question.
Go on. Oh God.
So...
Why do I get worried? You asked me something.
If aliens came from outer space...
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Another question.
Shut up, Jacob. If Jacob... I just full fake named you. If aliens came from outer space and said, Hannah, you have to give us one representative of the ultimate dancer. Otherwise, we're going to blast you and kill
What do you mean
planet.
representative?
Well,
like,
I'll get it. So you have to basically give them one person
who is like the most
who is
iconic.
like this is for me my representation of dance, and if they
of dance.
yeah,
okay.
and if they approve, we all live, and if you give a bad selection, we all die. Who would you give?
Representation of dance. Who would I give? Who? Oh, that's really hard. Anyone.
Anyone. They have to be alive though. People have given dead ones before, and I let them go away with it, and I go, that's stupid. They're not going to hear it.
For me, I'm going to have to say her. Only, and I feel like people are going to probably think I have the biggest woman crush on her. Well, to be fair, I do love her. Would it be her? Ooh.
I think I know who you're going to choose.
Yeah.
I know, but then I'm like, but is there someone else who's a bit more like not so obvious, if that makes sense? Is there anyone else who I think is on par? Like,
Yeah, but do you want to take that risk?
that's true.
Like the world's going to end.
we all
because
might
of
die.
It would have
because
to be
you-
Galen Hooks.
And why?
Why she's the representative?
Yeah, why
I
you
think
why are you sacrificing her?
Big. What do you mean sacrificing? God, I don't want to sacrifice her. I sacrifice someone else. I think she embodies everything that dance is. Yes, she nails the steps. Yes, she's great in terms of like as a dancer, but she embodies something that's so magical and special and unique in terms of her connection with the audience or with the camera. And I feel like that is exactly the reason why I wanted to be a dancer. And I think that is the reason why people fall in love with dance. It's not the steps. It's that connection. And creatively, I just think she is a genius, personally. I think she brings so much to the table, and I think she will continue to kind of push the boundaries of dance, which I love. Like, it's not all like about the hype of the dance. It's about the storytelling. And that for me is dance.
Boom, I feel like we're all safe.
Yeah, I feel like we're all safe.
We're going to live. It was a good choice. Bravo. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
People can find you on Instagram at...
So What Now Artist. I have to say it with the t because people are like, what? So What Now Artist. And that has the membership details and also the self-package details. And then obviously I have my Hannah Levitt Collins page, which is just me as a human dancer. Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. You can go check out Hannah. She's a cool person, not just a cool artist. At Mr. Ball Change, at the Ins and Outs podcast, at Gibson_media_. Peace out. Don't forget to share the podcast with your friends and your family. If you've got a friend and they're not listening, tell them they're an idiot.
Sort their shit out.
Listen and subscribe. Peace out, motherfuckers, and fade.